Greetings and salutations, my friends. Welcome in. Just getting started here in just a second. I'm a little bit late, so I do apologize for being a little bit late, but hopefully you guys can understand. Yeah, things are a little hectic this morning, and yeah, I got to get a lot of things done at the same time. Get on here and hang out with you wonderful people. So as you're coming in, if you guys could do me a huge solid, I would appreciate it if you guys hit the like button. It does help out quite a bit when it comes to the channel, so I would appreciate that. And yeah, welcome and glad to have you guys here. Yeah, so it's Thursday. Happy Thursday to everybody, right? It's Friday Junior, so yeah, I wanted to talk to you guys about Googlefy and like a newsletter that's been sent out to Googlefy customers, what this all means and how does this pertain to you as a customer if you are one. If you're not a customer, no worries, doesn't affect you. However, if you've been interested in Googlefy, you might want to know this bit of information, but also some of the things I'm going to show you about Googlefy as well. Kind of give them a little bit of attention. And in the description, you guys will find a referral code. So I make nothing on it because I have totally maxed out on, how when you share a referral code, you get credits. I have maxed out on that. So I make nothing on this, but this is just strictly for anyone that wants to sign up with Googlefy, maybe try out their services for a month. Then you get $60 credit just for using my referral code and signing up. It's in the description, so take advantage of it if you guys want to. And I'm going to show you around Googlefy and let you guys know some of the things they got going on for them right now. They got some pretty good promotions too as well, so we're going to discuss those offers and everything. And then I am going to talk to you guys about the Pixel 10 battery a little bit more, as there is a video that's circulating for members only that will eventually go live today, 3 p.m. Phoenix time. And in there, I talk more about the well, I give an intro to it, so it's kind of weird. It's like backwards. I'm going to tell you guys more about the battery life of the Pixel 10. You're going to hear more of like the intro to it in today's video later on that drops. So yeah, it's the end of the year. This is where I push a lot of content out. I push a lot of videos out, so be expecting more of those. And then of course, things are going to kind of like die down next week only because I am going out of town, spending time with family. So I'll be a little MIA. Maybe I'll pop in on a live and say what's up to everybody. But other than that, I mean, there's not really too much planned as far as video content and everything like that. I may just make some videos and set it for, release on those days that I'm out. That way there's still something for you guys to watch, even though I'm not actually going to be active and live next weekend. So anyways, yeah, I did drop a poll if people were, were to consider Googlefy. So far right now, no, nobody would consider Googlefy. That's out of 2 votes. I'll keep that poll live and going throughout the podcast. And really just kind of just talk about, what is going on with Fi. So shout out to Gene, who you gotta love Gene. Okay, if you guys don't know who Gene is, he pops in the chat every now and then. Great guy. But every time that he comes across tech news, he just hits up, his favorite creators and stuff and just gives them the info. Even if we already know, he just still gives it to us. And that's so cool. I appreciate Gene for doing that. Because if there is something that, I probably didn't catch, I at least know I'm not going to miss it because he's going to send it to me. So if you guys do follow me on other social platforms other than YouTube, hey, that's cool. You don't have to, but if you do, you do. And I am, active with those who message me like, on Instagram or on X or whatever. Yeah. But that's all up to you guys. But anyways, so like he sent this link. I already had seen it because I'm a Google Fi customer, so I already was notified of this. But Google Fi is making some changes, and like I told Gene, it's not too concerning when it comes to this particular change because by now most people would be on a much newer device, or at least a device that's running Android 11 or higher. All right, we're on Android 16, right? So we're 5 generations ahead of Android 11. And requirements now to be able to take advantage of all of Google Fi's features would require you to be on a device that has Android 11 or higher. So if anyone's running a device that has, Android 9 or Android 10, your device will no longer be supported for the features. And the key word here is features. So you'll still be able to get the talk, the text, the data. That's not going to be a problem for anyone running a device that has an older version of Android. And, even if you're running a device that has Marshmallow 6.0, doesn't matter. Your talk, text, and data is still going to work. So basically, no changes really. It's the features they're talking about. And so there's specific features that Google Fi customers have access to that, obviously enriches the experience being on Google Fi. So one of the things that feature-wise is when Google Fi decided to migrate Family Link into Fi services. Family Link, basically, it's a service by Google, and what it does is it allows parents to be able to track and monitor their children, right? So, you create like a family group. There's a main Google account that pretty much governs it, and then you can set limitations to like what your kids view. So like if you feel like your kids are not ready for the full access to YouTube, you can limit their view to the YouTube Kids app, where they can only watch kid-friendly content on there. It allows you to track movement, so you can see where they are with their phones. Whether they have a phone, if you get them a Pixel Watch or a Galaxy Watch or whatever that's LTE compatible, you can have them wear a watch always and track them that way. But it allows you to just pretty much have full control of what your kids are doing online, as well as keeping you within sight of where they are. So really nifty feature. I've been using Google Family Link for years, and it's integrated into Fi services, which I think is pretty cool on how they did that, without just making it be something where it's like completely separate. So that's one feature that those that have devices that are running older generations of Android, older than Android 11, you'll lose out on that feature. You'll also lose out on the Google VPN. So there are people who have always talked to me about Google VPN is done. You don't get it anymore from the Google One subscription. And I understand that it's no longer there, but Fi customers still have access to the VPN, and that VPN is free to use. So if you want to use it, you can. But you lose out on that feature, as well as other features, like you have the ability to block calls from numbers that's not in your contacts. So really, aside from having the spam filter, and having your spam calls intercepted, if you really don't want calls from anybody unless they're a contact of yours, you can enable that within the Fi app, and it allows it where only numbers stored in your contacts are able to call. Anybody else that calls, and they'll get an odd message, so they won't get through. So there's those features that, and a little bit more features that those running Android, older than Android. So I'm gonna say Android 10 and older are not going to be able to gain access to anymore. The thing about that is I'm not laughing at it like it's a laughable thing, like it's a big joke or anything like that. I just laugh at it because today in society, there are most people are already tech savvy. It's the reason why the tech community on YouTube is lacking. And it's not so much that content creators are just boring or anything like that. Maybe some are. I know I am. I could be boring to people, but I'm cool with that. I just need a place to geek out and just talk all this stuff. Because if I do it to my wife, she's gonna get that pasty look, and so I just need somewhere to vent all this excitement in my head always when it comes to mobile technology. So, but yeah, a lot of people today are tech savvy. So I know that, even if like a person is in their 70s or in their 60s or in their 50s, because I'm not too far away from that. I'm in my 40s. I'm almost halfway through 40. Okay. And they know about smartphones, they know about smartwatches, and they know about, augmented reality glasses and, the virtual world of like, Meta and all those. So they're not oblivious to this sector, because this sector is a growing sector, right? We have a lot going on with these smartphones. We have the introduction. We're like in the introductory phase of AI as the norms, with things like Gemini and Chat GPT, and there's like various others. I mean, today there's tutorials on YouTube on how to make content using AI. Of course, you're not going to gain success out of that. I'm just letting you know, YouTube is putting a damper on that. So yeah. What's up, man? Shout out for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate it, Anthony. Thank you so much. Anthony's like, man, dude, you've been rocking lots of comments on my videos and everything. I read them. I appreciate it. I appreciate the super chat. You didn't have to do that, but it's very much appreciated. Thank you so much for that. We're glad to have you here and watching too, man. But anyways, so yeah, I don't feel like that there's going to be people that just didn't upgrade because they don't know much about newer technology. They know about newer technology. Like I said, AI is a growing thing, and it's getting more advanced, right? Interesting enough, for those people who wanted to know about Amazon's thing, that what happened recently where Amazon was down, I'll explain that here in a little bit in the live stream, what happened. Since my wife and I, we do Amazon Flex as a side gig to make extra money, and it impacted us, but we also found out why it did that, apparently. So I'm going to say apparently, allegedly, because I'm not inside the inner workings of Amazon or their decision makings, but I do know that it is caused by something that has to do with AI. So anyways, yeah, so most people today, they would be on something that's much newer. There may be a few people that are still rocking a phone that has Android 11, and that's cool. But I, for the most part, feel like, because when I go out, I don't just do this just because I think like, everyone likes the latest and greatest technology. But I do, when I go out to, like have dinner with the family, when I take my kids to go, buy something from the store, when we go out for, ice cream, if we go out for, whatever it is, whatever we're doing, we go out to play Pokemon Go. People have much newer phones. I see people, in their golden years, literally rocking, iPhone 17 Pro Max, or even iPhone 15 Pro Max, or using a Pixel 9, Pixel 8, Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultras. Lots of them out there, and even using the mid-range Galaxy devices like the Galaxy A56s and whatnot. So the fact is that most people are on Google Fi are not really going to be impacted by this change because they're using a much newer device. So are there people who have like a phone with Android 9? Obviously, well, of course. Can't say that like there's nobody on those things anymore. And so, of course, they would get the newsletter. They would be given the offer to upgrade. Upgrading, is a pretty good possibility for some of them. Some people just don't like to upgrade unless the phone like absolutely breaks. I mean, I know a few people that have some really old phones because these really old phones are chugging along. One of them is using a very old iPhone, and they don't care. Like every time that every time they download an app, I'm always amazed because they see that little notification pop up that says that your device does not support the latest app version, but it allows them to install an outdated version, and they just do it. They just do it just to do it, and like they just stay on their phone because they have that philosophy: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. More of like if it ain't broke, don't upgrade. That's gonna be their motto, their slogan. So I'm just like, wow, but I mean, there are people who still use older devices with older software, much older software. I wouldn't recommend it, because of vulnerabilities, but yeah, that's for another time. And so, of course, they do need to be notified. Like Google Fi can't just like cut off these people from these features without telling them. So, now, for the most part, that kind of correlates with my poll here. would you consider switching to Google Fi? And currently it's no. But when people would ask, why would anyone be on Google Fi? Well, I mean, they got a lot of good things going for it. Like, yes, I understand. For those people who, for argument's sake, because I use Google Fi, it's almost like people try to convince me on what I should be using. But anyways, someone will tell me like, how do I deal with Google Fi because it has, a limited amount. And let me say that slowly. A limited amount of high-speed data usage before throttle. And the reason I could do that on Fi is because I was doing that with Boost Mobile. Like when I had Boost Mobile service, I was on a $25 plan, which was 30 gigs of high-speed data. So 30 gigs to what I got now with Fi at 100 gigs of high-speed data. Yeah, that's 3 times over. So I can deal with that. With Mobile X, when I was using Mobile X, again, 30 gigs of high-speed data. So a lot of things was really on the, the 30 gig side, right? You look at a lot of, prepaid MVNO plans out there. It's really on the 30 gigs for like 25 to 30 bucks ish range. Some still charge like 40, 50 bucks. That's insane, but I digress from that. So yeah, that's why I can do 5 services. Like, I know Metro by T-Mobile is like fully unlimited. Let me tell people something right now off the jump, because I do have Metro by T-Mobile. My daughter's using that line. I was using it to test it out recently. Let me tell you this. The network quality of my Google Fi line connected to T-Mobile's 5G network surpasses Metro by T-Mobile's. Like in places, Metro was stuttering and my Fi service was not. And they're both on the T-Mobile network, running speed tests. They're both connected to the same server because there's a T-Mobile server here in Phoenix. And yeah, even running a speed test side by side between them, and Fi was the more dominant because Fi has a higher priority access than Metro. So while I do like having as much data as I want to use, which I really don't use a lot of data because I have home Wi-Fi and I'm always connected to it. So, I really don't need a fully unlimited deprioed after 35 gigs of usage Metro by T-Mobile plan, which has a lower network priority access versus my Google Fi that limits me to 100 gigabytes of high-speed data, but a higher priority access. I'll take the higher priority access because I don't need my stuff failing on me. As a content creator, if I make a quick shorts for the shorts channel, right? So you guys know I operate 2 different YouTube channels, one specifically dedicated to short form content, and then there's this one that's dedicated to long form content and live streaming. But if I want to upload a shorts, I don't need something that's going to be hung up uploading slower compared to another one that can upload it much faster. Like, I still have to get back to what I'm doing in my day. Like, if I want to capture a moment at, Best Buy, geeking out or whatever, I want to be able to make that short form content, do a quick editing with, using YouTube Create and Instagram Edits app for aesthetics, and upload it and get it uploaded and return back to what I'm doing with my kids. Like, my life moves pretty quickly because I try to, make most of my time open and available for my kids because my kids come first, right? I've always said this. If my kids ever walked to me and said, "Dad, I'm tired of you doing YouTube," YouTube is done for me. I would completely just drop YouTube for my kids. My kids always come first. So if I'm trying to make content to put on that short channel, then I need to be able to edit and upload quickly. So that's why I can do with Fi and not have to use something fully unlimited like, Metro by T-Mobile or Cricket Wireless or any of those guys. Yes, it's nice to know you have that safety net where it's like you can use as much data as you want, but technically you can't really use as much data as you want. There are fine prints to it. There are ways they can kick you off if they consider you to be a network abuser. So like people kind of forget that too. It's like, yes, you get fully unlimited and people will be like, yeah, I've used 1 terabyte on Metro. I've used 2 terabytes on Metro. Like, I got it. Now do that consistently every month for like a year, and let's see if they don't ever send you a letter saying like, hey, you use too much data, so we need you to go somewhere else. Guys like, friends of mine like Carlos S Tech, they've tested this. He's done some rigorous testing. Go check out his channel, and he's gotten emails from providers, and he was on postpaid. Okay, he wasn't on prepaid side, he was on postpaid side, and they literally wanted to kick him off, or they did. They shut down his account. and let him know that, you know, they considered what he was doing as abuse on the network. And it's crazy, right? Because you're like, wait, how's that abuse? It's fully unlimited. Well, in the world of, you know, MNO, MVNOs, and prepaids, there is no such thing as real, true, unlimited. So always keep that in mind. I know people love to debate what's better, and you know what? That's so cool to see people do that, because sometimes they take it to heart. They get really, really, really into it, and like it's almost like watching Clash of Clans in real life. But anyhow, yeah. So Fi, they currently have a promotion going on right now. So right now, up until it looks like it ends on November 4th. So that's next week. What's up? Okay. I love my wife. I didn't see she messaged me. Babe, if you watch this replay later, I love you. My wife, I love her very much. My wife is my biggest fan and my biggest supporter. She was even around when, like, you know, in my early 20s. I'll tell you guys something right now that's funny. In my early 20s, I had ambitions of like doing music. Me and my Hanai brother, you know, we dabbled with hip hop a lot back in the day, freestyle battles and stuff like that. And so he and I were actually going to record a demo album. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not gonna play it for you guys. I may never play it, or I might. You know what? I'll do it like this. If I ever hit 20,000 subscribers, then I will release, because I still had the music files. I will release it just for subscribers to grab. So like I'll put a link up for it for like 24 hours, allowing you guys to download it. But I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not worth downloading because it will kill your eardrums. I suck so bad. Like, yes, I could write lyrics, I can write bars for days, but no, I can't rap a lick vocally and much less carry a tune. So it was bad. It was horrible. Trust me. Take my word for it. But anyways, so right now, Fi is running a promotion, and it's geared towards their unlimited standard and unlimited essentials. Because a lot of people tend to go for like the higher plan, because the higher plan does offer a lot more. So here are the 4 plans that Google Fi has. Flexible, obviously being flexible is what it is, right? $20 a month for unlimited talk and text, and then $10 per gigabyte that you use. That's pretty expensive for a flexible plan. You know who beats this plan? MobileX. MobileX beats Google Fi flexible plan hands down, double over. You get this same for a lot less with MobileX. Play it? Nah. No, I wouldn't collaborate, man. I couldn't. You know, no, it's not in the cards. You know what? You know, people have ambitions of doing something, but like, you know, technically it's just not in the cards for them. That's me. That's me. What up, Nguyen Dang? What's up, man? Glad to have you here. So no, I couldn't do it. I you know, I could write, but you know, but then that's kind of like a no-no, right? In the world of hip hop, like, you know, somebody, you wouldn't, like, an artist wouldn't get praised for having a ghostwriter. So anyways, but you know, for the most part, most people are on the unlimited premium plan on Google Fi, right? So the, you know, the unlimited standard, you know, the unlimited standard and the unlimited essentials right now, currently, for 15 months. So that's 1 year and 3 months. So basically like a year and a quarter of, you know, of the next year. You will get the plans at a discounted price. So, MobileX beats flexible, basically being on a flexible plan. Visible does have better deals per se. They have some good ones going on, but yeah, you know, that's if you want to go in on Visible and you want to go in on what they're offering, right? Like the Visible base plan, I would always tell people just go for that. The need, like Verizon's network quality is honestly so much better. in certain areas of my city. Last night when I was live streaming, that was the only time I'll tell you guys that Verizon failed me. So when I went to that little haunted house, right? It's not like a major haunted house. It's, you know, some guy who really loves Halloween. He always builds his front yard out into a small little haunted house, and it's called Phoenix Dead Rising. And we went there. They weren't open yet, but the guy was so cool. Shout out to him. He was so cool. He let me and my family go inside just to see what the inside looks like. He was like, he doesn't have his actors there for the jump scares. But I could tell this guy was like really into it because his partner was like still all dressed up, who's like the caretaker. And my son, sorry, side note. I know I'm supposed to be talking about Google Fi. I'm like sharing all these side note stuffs. But you guys could see the live stream I did after this is over. Just go watch that video. It's like 10 minutes long. But like my son was like getting mad at the caretaker. And like this is where Verizon failed me because like the stream was so choppy and pixelated, and the audio was cutting in and out. I was so disappointed. That's why I'm going back tomorrow when they officially open. And then I'll probably stream on one phone, you know, with the T-Mobile network and see how that does when I go through there, and record with my other phone so there's like an actual better view that I'll upload. But anyways, yeah, my son was getting mad because, you know, there's 6 in my family. And so the caretaker was like, you know, he was asking my son, like, you know, how many of us are there? And my son's like, we're 6. He goes, let's break it up in groups of 2. Well, what he meant was like 2 groups of 3, basically. But anyways, my son was just like, you know, like, what? Like you want to split us up? Like he had this serious face where I was like, he was looking at the guy like, are you effing crazy? And I'm looking at my son like, oh, okay, this is about to get real. So my wife went with my oldest son and my eldest daughter, and I took the younger ones with me. So my 12-year-old daughter, she's like into spooky stuff. She loves scary movies and stuff like that, and she's a big fan of the Conjuring series. So, you know, she's like, I want to go in and see what this place is about. And I'm like, okay, you know, like, you know, pump the brakes. So the caretaker gives us the full experience. You know, he tells us the backstory, and then he's all like, you know, proceed to step to the door and enter if you dare. And so we go in, and you know, it's a small little maze, and the guy's front yard's, you couldn't even tell it was the guy's front yard. Like they built it out so good. But you know, you go in and you start making your way through like narrow corridors into small rooms, and these small rooms have all these things set up, like the aesthetics is like all welcoming and done. And I knew that the owner was already into it because I guess while we were in there, he told the people outside, like, hey, I'm going to try to scare them because my daughter, she kept moving fast through from one room to another room. And I'm like telling her, like, slow down because I wanted to experience a lot of what was inside, see, you know, like just like all the stuff. I'm a big stickler for Halloween. That's my favorite holiday of the year. So we're going through this thing, and then I hear a bump. But I'm not in the room where the bump happened. My daughter was, because she went ahead. So I guess the owner thought we were all in the same room, so he decided to try and do a jump scare on us, even though, because like he told us they didn't have their actors there, so there's not going to be any scares happening, but we can look at it. So I'm like, you know, okay, cool. Well, you know, we go in, and so yeah, he hits it where my youngest daughter's at, and me and my son were still investigating. Like my son he's got his full, you know, Mystery Incorporated hat on. He's like, you know, he's in the Scooby-Doo phase. And he's like trying to explore everything. And so we make our ways through. Like they have a lot of good decorations. It's really nice, right? It's not, you know, like, it's not meant to be like the 13th floor. If anyone ever comes to Phoenix around this time of the year, you have to go to the 13th floor. The 13th floor and Fear Farm are 2 really good ones. 13th floor, obviously, really good haunted house. And they got some additionals to it. Like they got a zombie apocalypse laser tag. So they basically put you up with, like, you know, those laser tag guns, and a bunch of people are dressed as zombies with the little, you know, vest inside the costume where if you aim shoot, they get, you know, I don't know, with laser tag, they get that little thing that lets them know, like, hey, they've been tagged, they've been shot. But yeah, you get to go to the zombie apocalypse and try to survive. There's a haunted house, and then you got Fear Farm too, which is more in the outskirts of Phoenix, open field type place. They got the corn maze and everything like that. But like those are more scarier than this, but this is not meant to be as scary as those. This is meant just, you know, for a little fun. A guy who likes Halloween built his front yard into a haunted house. Like, let's appreciate that for a moment, you know? So it was fun. Go check it out. I know it's hard to see. It's a little pixelated, but you know, I'll get a better shot when we go back when it's actually open. He's opening a week late just because we had a bunch of rain come through. So it stopped his ability to open the haunted house and get it going. But since things are cleared, it's going to be open tomorrow. Anyhow, love zombie themes. Yeah, zombie themes are pretty good. Story is still relevant. um, but anyways, back to Google Fi plans. So we get past flexible, unlimited essentials, right? So it's 30 gigs of high speed data, and it's $17.50 a month. Now, when you compare that to companies like Boost Mobile that has the same type of plan for, $25, $17.50, yeah, that's almost $10 cheaper. That's like $8.50 cheaper, or $7.50 cheaper than, you know, than Boost Mobile, but still, that's $7 savings. You know what you can get today for $7? It's not like how it was, 5-6 years ago, where you can get items from a 99-cent meal at Mickey D's. No, but you can still get something for $7. So yeah, that's actually pretty decent, and that's obviously those that are on Boost Mobile that were utilizing the T-Mobile network that no longer have access to that. If they want something that's around the same type of plan style, they can try Unlimited Essentials. Again, this is half off for 15 months. That's the promotion that Fi is running right now. Half off for 15 months. So you get the 30 gig plan for $17, and 50 cents. If you need more data than 30 gigs, the next plan up from that is the Unlimited Standard, and that's 50 gigs of high-speed data. And that one is for 25. So you can pay around the same price what you're paying at Boost Mobile for 30 gigs and get 20 gigs more at 50 gigs. That's basically going up against Boost Mobile's $60, 50 gigabyte plan. You're only going to pay 25 for it, and that's for 15 months. So that gives you a good amount of time that if you try them out for 1 year and, you like their services, you stay. You don't like the services, you can go. But at least, you're getting stuff out of it. Now, the additionals on this plan compared to the essentials, because the essentials is just 30 gigs of high-speed data and then full connectivity for smartwatches. So you get a Pixel Watch or a Galaxy Watch that's LTE compatible, you can get it active. On the standard plan, 50 gigs of high-speed data, activity, or activation for, LTE compatible smartwatches, 25 gigs of high-speed hotspot tethering. So you can, use 25 gigs of hotspot. That's half of your 50 gigs. It does pull from your 50 gigs. So it's not 25 gigs separate. And, data included in Canada and Mexico. But then, of course, that promo is not going to run with their most highest top-tiered plan, which is their Unlimited Premium, because that gives you 100 gigs of high-speed data, full connectivity for smartwatches, and then you get 50 gigs of high-speed hotspot tethering. You also get the usage of data-only SIM cards, whether it's physical SIM or eSIM. You can do those. International data in 200 plus countries, connectivity for tablets and laptops, 6 months of YouTube Premium, 100 gigs of storage on Google One. I think they should upgrade that to the base with Gemini AI Pro, because 100 gigs of data, man, we're burning through that pretty quickly in cloud. But yeah, you get a lot of it, and that's like $65 a month, right? So it's pretty much, this plan competes with a lot of postpaid, and then these compete with a lot of the MVNO prepaids. Fast food meals are getting much, much smaller over time. Pay more, get less. Yeah, that is true. That is absolutely true. I mean, you definitely can get more. But I mean, I think that is a good thing, though. And hear me out before people freak on me. I know it's expensive if you have to grab something to eat on the fly, and so you stop at a fast food joint, and it's like your meal's small, but you've paid like $12-13 for it, right? You go to Jack and the Crack and you try to get sourdough Jack or whatever, just one meal for yourself, and you're already close to like $13. So I get it. It's pretty expensive compared to what it was back in the day, but just kind of incentivizes people to eat more at home, to make better choices. So I think that's kind of the bonus plus. Now, if somebody's fully addicted to, Jack and the Crack, to Mickey D's, to BK, to all these places, then yeah, you're definitely going to, spend a lot more than a shiny penny for food. I mean, I grab takeout from time to time. I know it's not a healthy option, but sometimes I do that. Sometimes I do it just for my kids, right? Like my son, He can now literally tell his classmates that he's tried the Jack-o'-lantern Whopper. It tastes like a regular Whopper. There's no difference to it. It's just that the bread is food color dyed orange, and they put black sesame seeds on it instead of white ones, and so it's called the Jack-o'-lantern Whopper. They got the vampire chicken nuggets, and they got the mummy mozzarella sticks, right? So like the monster meal at Burger King, he's tried. He's checked that off his bucket list. The thing for me is, like I said, I grew up in Hawaii, so a lot of like the McDonald's menu meals still to me is not appeasing. Like, so like if here in Phoenix they decided to, import the menu from Hawaii, and say for like a month, for 30 days, they bring, like the breakfast, plate lunch, right? The 2 slices of Spam, 3 Portuguese sausage, and then, 2 scoops of rice with scrambled eggs, right? Like you get that platter, you bring the McTerry, right? The McTerry burger, not the deluxe one, just the regular one. You bring that. If they brought in, the halpia fried pie, or the fried taro pie, or fried apple pie, because the baked apple pies at McDonald's here suck major donkey. If they incorporated that, that'd be pretty cool, right? Because like over here, like they do the McRib. They bring the McRib sandwich for a limited time, and I'm like, they should bring the McRib and the McTerry. Because in Hawaii, when the McRib is out here in the mainland, in Hawaii, the McTerry comes out. Because it used to be like a all year round on the menu, but then they started making it like a limited time on that menu. Oh, you get 4 kids too? Cool. Yeah. I have 5 total. 1 from a previous marriage. He's my oldest, actually. And yeah, he's fully grown. He's out doing his thing. He's inspired as a mechanic, and that's his thing, you know what I mean? And so I get to chat with him every now and then when he remembers me. Sometimes he goes like months without saying hi, then out of nowhere just randomly pops up. It's like, "Hi, Dad." It's like, "Hey, how you doing?" He's like, "I'm good. How are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm good." And then the conversation stops there. He just goes back to his life. And he's a young adult. I don't expect them to like be calling me every week. I expect them to be going out there and chasing the world. It's what I want for all my kids. So I'm here if they want to talk, and if they don't want to talk, no sweat off my ball sack. But I love them all 5. So I have 5 total. But yeah, so those are the plans that Fi has, right? And then there's the offers. So I'll get into that. Obviously Fi is gonna have deals on Pixels. Get up to $800 off any Pixel 10, right? Plus $10 a month off service. This is actually a pretty good deal. So you get $350 off instantly, and up to $450 back over 24 months of credit on the Pixel 10 series. And then you get also $10 off your monthly bill. So if you decide to go with on the premium plan, which I believe you have to be on that premium. Yeah, you do. So there's only one plan option you can choose if you get that deal. But it makes your plan $55 a month instead of $65. So, you have those deals. You have $900 off Samsung Galaxy S25 Edge with $300 off instantly, right? Because this phone on Fi goes for, I think it's $1,099. So, yeah, that's, pretty decent. And then their, referral codes are $60 off in savings with Fi. It used to be only $20 that they would give people who sign up with the referral code. It used to be only $20. They tripled that. They haven't gone back down. So that's why my code still gives people $60 credit. And then, of course, you got some really cool Motorola Moto devices. $200 off the Moto G Stylus 2025, right? If you order one on Fi. So you can get the new Moto device, and it's got three camera sensor setup right here. You guys see that, right? And then the flash is right there. So hey, why not? So those are the offers that Fi has. Now, Fi's been pretty good about things. I do miss some things about Google Fi, like the old days. I do miss the smart switching when Sprint was around. So you used to switch between Sprint and T-Mobile, and then when they added US Cellular, you were switching between all 3 if you were in an area where US Cellular was available. So every time I went to my dad's in the Midwest, US Cellular's out there, so then I would be able to connect to it if it was stronger connectivity. But most of the time, I was on Sprint, because in Phoenix is a Sprint market. So when Sprint was still around, their network was really good here. Now T-Mobile owns it, acquires it, and has all that spectrum. It has all those towers they own. They decommissioned some of them. They kept some of them around. So yeah, that's why T-Mobile does great here now. But yeah, Fi isn't too bad. I mean, everyone's hung up on the, I need fully unlimited. And I would always tell people, like, if they're like, I don't think I can do a plan where there's limitations to the high speed data, I would always tell them, like, hey, go look and see what your actual data usage is. Like, go check it. You have a fully unlimited data plan, but it still does track your data usage. And you can see. And if you're going 30 days only using 15 gigabytes of data because you're mostly on Wi-Fi at home and your job has Wi-Fi, so you're mostly at Wi-Fi at work. One of the funniest things, I'll share this thing. One of the funniest things that, when I used to work at Carvana, there was a lady there that I would always find her funny because, she's like, she has to have unlimited. Right? Because I had talked to her about Visible because she wanted to lower her monthly bill. She was paying too much. So I told her about Visible. It's $25 a month and it's fully unlimited, and it's fully unlimited hotspot, even though the hotspot is capped at 5 megabits per second speed on the base plan. But back then, they only had Visible Plus and Visible. She ended up signing up for it, right? And it was funny because someone was like, do you really, really need unlimited? And she was fighting so hard on lunch break with the debate with all of us out there eating lunch. Like, she absolutely needs unlimited. But her data usage was only 5 gigabytes. She only used 5 gigabytes a month. And they were like, why? And she's like, because I use Wi-Fi. So someone asked her, they're like, what's the point of having unlimited if you demand everywhere that you go have Wi-Fi and you go to access it? Because like if she went to Walmart and Walmart had Wi-Fi, she would connect to it. She goes to an Albertsons grocery store, which is, like Safeway. Safeway and Albertsons are sister companies. But, they have Wi-Fi in there, guest Wi-Fi access. This woman will connect to it. So everywhere that she goes, that's free Wi-Fi, she connects to their Wi-Fi. And why does she do it? It's like, because I would rather use their data first before burn mine's out. But it's like, wait a minute. You're not burning out your data because you're on a fully unlimited plan. And I'm pretty dang sure you're not using 2 to 5 terabytes of data a month. So it's like you needed fully unlimited data. You need fully unlimited data to use other Wi-Fi accesses. And then she has home Wi-Fi, which she's on one of the top tier plans with CenturyLink. So it's like you're really only using 5 gigabytes of mobile data. She would be perfect to be on Mobile X and have a very cheap bill every month for phone service. I'm just saying. But yeah. So then, really, it all depends on the users. It all depends on the people. What are your needs are. But if you have fallen into what a lot of these companies have created, and you don't have to take my word for it, you can chat with CEO of Mobile X, Peter Adderton. He's such a cool guy, and he's very open to just talking with anybody. He's not one of those CEOs that's got like, a barrier surrounding him where you won't get to interact with him. He actually handles his own social media accounts, and he does chat with you. As long as you're saying something worthwhile. If you're trying to troll him, he's not going to give you the time of day. But if you're actively talking to him about, the MVNO and, the telecom industry, he'll conversate with you as a person, not as someone trying to force you onto his Mobile X. He doesn't try to like aggressively get people to go to Mobile X. So, good guy, but even he will tell you the same thing, A lot of people have been brainwashed into believing that they have to have fully unlimited data when they don't even really use it. Like, if you're somebody that has no Wi-Fi at home, unlimited is going to be your best friend because then you'll have phone service and you'll be able to do what you need to do online. Now, if you want to be able to tether that service to other IoTs, of course, Visible is going to be one of the best ones because there's no hotspot limitation as far as like how much data you can use in a month for hotspot. So, yeah, that's when it would be great. Now, if you have home Wi-Fi and you're always on home Wi-Fi and everywhere you go, you connect to the public Wi-Fi, I wouldn't recommend it, but some people just still do it anyways. Then yeah, even being something on a flexible plan like Mobile X's flexible plan or Google Fi's flexible plan or Telo's flexible plan, or even US Mobile's flexible plans. Any of those flexible plans, you would be able to get by every 30 days on those plans with a cheaper phone bill, because you're not really going over the limitations that you've already set on yourself. You limit yourself to a low amount of mobile data usage because you're always active on Wi-Fi. This is the reason why Helium Mobile is coming at the industry with the way that it is, with the types of plans that, like that I have. Because I have Helium Mobile service. And the reason why they're doing it, and why they're having people connect these outdoor hotspots, indoor hotspots to deploy signal for Helium Mobile customers to rely on those network connections as a primary function, and then the T-Mobile network as a secondary function. They're doing that to alleviate data congestion on the telecom networks. What up? What up, Deathlock Podcast? What's up, man? What's going on, bro? Americans are spoiled. Yeah, you can say we're very spoiled. We very much are. Sometimes we don't even know how good we got it. Freedoms and everything like that, we don't even know how good we got it. We kind of forget. Compared to other places in the world, especially places that I visited, yeah, they're not so free. But yeah. That is like the horror deal. So whether, you would go GoogleFi, you wouldn't, totally cool. Anyone that wants to try them out, they definitely can use my promo code in the description if they want to give it a shot. $60 credit added to your account for signing up. And you know what? You don't actually have to be a full-time GoogleFi customer to take advantage of them. Like, if you're going to travel outside of country, this is where I would tell people, like, use Fi. Because like AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon, they have international plans. They're kind of pricey. You could use GoogleFi for international service. When you come back to the US, suspend the service or cancel. You could always re-sign back up with Fi with your Google account later on. But you can sign up for it to use it for services overseas. Places that you go to, depending on the type of network infrastructure that those countries have built out. Okay, you're at the mercy of their infrastructure, but you'll always be connected to the highest data priority for them. So like if you go to a country where it's LTE still, you'll connect to LTE. You won't connect to 3G or 2G. If you go to a place that has 5G built out, you'll connect to their 5G, right? GoogleFi service worked great in Thailand. Thailand has a great infrastructure out there, so it worked pretty dang good. And yeah, so I would even suggest to people, like, you don't have to get GoogleFi service as your main daily phone service provider, but if you're going to travel outside of the country, you can get this as your way of using international without paying so much. Go on the unlimited premium, which allows you to use the services outside the US, or you could do the flexible plan, and that also lets you use services outside of the US. It's just the unlimited standard and the unlimited essentials that does not allow service outside the US unless you upgrade to either of the other two plans. But you can use that while you're outside the country. Like, I know a lot of business travelers use GoogleFi service for when they travel outside of the US for business. They could be like 3 months outside the US and use GoogleFi service as their service provider. And then when they get back to the US, they just suspend the line of service because they know they're going to go outside the country again. So when the line is suspended, you're not charged a bill until you reinstate the services. And then when the services are reinstated, you're good. I know the other reason why people don't like GoogleFi is because taxes and fees are not included. And yeah, that totally blows, right? When you compare the $65 plan here, which is before taxes and fees, compared to like an unlimited plan on Metro, which is like $50 a month, and that's taxes and fees included. I totally get it. So there are reasonings why all these other providers are going to be better. The overarch thing about it is the taxes and fees included. That's the most number one complaint I see when it comes to that. And you know what? If Fi is able to change that up down the road, that would be great for them. Again, a lot of the things that Fi does it's their decision making, because obviously they do have to pay T-Mobile every year for access to T-Mobile's network. However, they're also at the mercy of T-Mobile. Like I know one person still tells me like they would switch completely to GoogleFi if they offered a fully unlimited service. And it's like, that's great, they would. But if they were allowed to give you fully unlimited, say they gave you fully unlimited services, but you're deprioritized after 35 gigs of data usage, right? Say they gave you the same as what Metro gives. No way T-Mobile is going to allow them to do that. T-Mobile will not allow Fi Wireless to beat them in their own game, because the rest of the stuff that Fi offers already beats, whatever, base postpaid T-Mobile plan there is out there right now. So yeah, they're not gonna let them do it. I'm surprised. I've never tried it. I mean, you always can just use my promo code. I'll get you 60. I make nothing on the deal. And I promise you guys, I make nothing on it. Every time that I post my Google Fi link, I always get that notification from Fi that's like, "Hey, you've maxed out on what you could earn. Are you sure you still want to share your referral code?" And I'm like, "Yes," because I don't share it to make money. I share it to save people money. So even I make nothing on this deal, I still share the code for other people. And if you don't like it, if it sucks, if you don't like the services, cancel. Cancel and you're golden. Visible also includes taxes and fees. Yeah, I said that. Did I not say that? I was thinking it in my head. I have ADHD, so sometimes my mouth runs faster than what my brain thinks. But yes, Visible does include taxes. Most places includes taxes and fees. I think Boost Mobile doesn't. Boost Mobile, you still get taxed, but the taxes are lower. They don't have a lot of the federal taxing involved there. It's mostly just your state tax. That's why taxing with Boost Mobile is a lot smaller. Fi does state and federal taxing on that level for their service plans. And of course the E911 tax and everything. So, when you're on Google Fi as a customer, you're paying taxes to your state, you're paying taxes to your federal government. But guess what else you're paying? You're also paying for those that use government assistant phones. There are tax regulations in cell phone bills, and they've been there for years. It's nothing new. And these specific taxes are the money that they use to fund the low-income phone service, right? Or what they call Obama phone, Trump phone, Biden phone, whatever they call it. But those things, right? This pays for that. And so, Verizon customers, T-Mobile customers, AT&T customers, Google Fi customers, that tax is applied on those customers on their bills. Because Fi is an MVNO. It is a mobile virtual network operator. It doesn't have its own network built out or none of that. However, Fi operates as a postpaid. And so I think that's one of the things that people kind of forget when they have these comparisons between like Fi and Metro or Fi and Boost Mobile. I really wouldn't put Fi on that bracket to compete against those prepaid options. I wouldn't do that because Fi operates post. So context, I'm on the unlimited premium plan. I use my phone service from the 26th of the prior month to the 27th of the current month. And then my bill closes out. They generate my bill and that bill is due 14 days after. So, that's postpaid, everybody. It's just, it doesn't require a credit check or none of that stuff. Yes, there's contracts with Fi. It's not over time. It's when you finance a device. My wife's Pixel 9a, she gets credit to her every month for being on Fi. If she cancels the service, she has to pay the full price of the phone. She stays with Fi for 2 years, that Pixel 9a is free to her. My upgrade deal on the Pixel 9a dropped the price to $299, so I'm making monthly payments on the 9a. I think it's like, $9 or $10 a month that I'm paying. Hold on, let me look at my bill. My bill will tell me how much I'm actually paying. So let me open. Let's see. Where are my devices? Device. Yeah, I'm out of referral credits. They used it. Oh wait, I gotta go to my tab. There we go. What am I paying? It only shows me. Why did I back out of there? Let's see, where's it at? Give me a second. I'll find it. Where's the 9A? Okay, so for where am I on that? Yeah, so for the Pixel 10, I'm paying $18.71 a month. Well, where is my 9A contract? Did they close out the 9A contract? I wonder, because then if that's the case, I might be getting a large bill because it might be actually charging me the remainder, which I never asked them to close out the finance charge for it. But I think it was like 11 or 12 bucks I was paying for the 9A. And that's that. So, but yeah, so far services have been fine and they've been pretty good. Well, Pixel 10 gets a lot of hate. I know that it does. However, the Pixel 10 has really good battery life. I don't know about, Mike, if your battery life on your 10 Pro has been really good. Mine has been good on the base 10. It's been actually shocking, and I'm running it on light mode. I decided I wanted to see the full scope of Material 3 Expressive, so I turned off dark mode and turned back on light mode. And man, well, I mean, if I gotta pay more, I'm just gonna pay it, and then the 9A would be paid off, and the 9A is completely mine. The 10 would be the only thing that I'm paying on, and I'm paying for the Pixel 10 at $499. That's what I bought it for. So they had already taken off like the $350 or whatever, and I was getting at $499. $499 or $449, I forgot. But anyhow, yeah. So I'll just be paying for that phone. I can't really complain. I'm not rich. I'm not wealthy, so I don't have a shit ton of money to go buy every phone out there. So some of these phones, I got to finance in order to be able to get them and review them for people. But I only finance the phones that I intend to keep and use as my personal phones, not phones that, I'm going to just like review and then put on the side. Speaking of review, dude, I am kicking myself in the butt right now. So I'm waiting for a response, but I got sent an email in the beginning of the month from New Mobile about the B40, and it totally slipped by, and I didn't find that email until last night. So I responded to them. Hopefully I can still get a review unit, and if I can, then I'll be reviewing the New Mobile B40. I think you got it. Didn't you get it, Mike? I think you got one. And I've seen a bunch of people just popping up with their reviews, right? Because, it launched yesterday on the 22nd. And I was so mad. I was like, how did this get by me? But then I realized that, the person that reached out is through like a campaign company. Whereas, way back in the day when New Mobile reached out to me to review the G3, was it G3 or G3 Plus? It came directly from New Mobile themselves. So yeah. You had applied for it, but they never sent anything. Ouch. Yeah, the embargo's already lifted. It lifted yesterday. You might sell your 10 Pro due to finances. Yeah, it's the only thing that's going to make that. I mean, hey, anybody, if you really are going to do it, anybody that has Boost Mobile and may be interested in a Pixel 10 Pro, if Mike, aka BTech Reviews, that's who Deathlock Podcast is in the chat. If you want a Pixel 10 Pro for Boost Mobile, then when he says he's putting it up for sale, reach out to him. Because that's going to be the only hard part, unless you go through one of those third-party unlocking companies and they can get the phone network unlocked. That would be cool, because then you can just sell it. It'll be unlocked to any network. Oh, okay. Maybe the person that you usually connect with isn't no longer with them. Yeah, I keep checking back on my email to see if if they got it, because I submitted my application for it, even though I'm late, and I'm just waiting for an approval for a response. So we'll see. I got tons of emails of people that want to work with me on stuff. Most of them are like scammers. You can tell by their email. And there's some that are pretty much legit, but then there's some that's like, I don't know how they feel like I would be a great fit to work with them on a campaign for their product, where it's like I talk mobile technology and, you know, the telecom industry on my channels, and they have like, you know, a carpet cleaning solution that removes everything. And I'm just like, and you think my channel would be a good fit to promote your product? Like, nobody comes to my channel looking on how to. I could understand if I was like installing carpet and I was showing people how to do it and doing tutorials. I can see why they would reach out to me, but you know, I don't know. I mean, I do have dogs. You know, the upstairs of the townhouse does have carpeting, but yeah, I don't know if any. See, it's all about what you guys would prefer, what you guys prefer to see. That's how these things should work out. It shouldn't really, you know, be like just because it says I have 14,000 subscribers, like, oh, I'm a good fit. No, I'm not a good fit, you know. But anyways, yeah. It wasn't in my spam. It wasn't in my spam folder at all. It was in my main folder. It's just I had forgotten. So context. I had forgotten that my work email address is not connected to my Google One subscription, right? So that account's storage is like, I think 15 gigs, which a lot of that is already sapped up from like old videos and photos, which I got to go through it, migrate it over to my other Google account, and then delete them on the business account. And so 90% of my cloud storage is used up. That includes, you know, emails in the Gmail app. So I get new emails. It just doesn't notify me. Like, I don't get notifications like 3 new emails came or any of that type of stuff. So that's how it got lost. Because they emailed me on October 1st. They sent another email to me on October 2nd. They sent a third one to me on October 6th. And then they sent me a final notice on October 9th of requesting to partner with me, which sucked because I didn't see it. So I was like, ugh. Oh, hi, babe. All right, that sounds good, babe. I saw your message. Yeah, let's do that. Life changes, everybody. Life changes are great. I miss my wife, so I stole her cup. I stole her cup, and I'm drinking tea out of it. But yeah, what was I talking about? Hashtag ADHD problems, because I just totally brain farted what I was talking about. Oh yeah, the email with New Mobile. Yeah, you got the email back in September. Man, I got the email in October. So, I mean, it still says that my invitation is open, because when I went in the email, I replied to the email to the person and, you know, just basically apologized for such a late response. I clicked the hyperlink in the email to open up for the invitation, and it's like, it said, "Hi, Aloha Android. This is your invitation to New Mobile B40," and it listed all the information there. And then it was like, you know, you do the normal shtick, right? When you're getting sent a product to review. And yeah, so I applied. I'm just waiting for a response. If they never respond, totally cool. You know, totally cool, fine, whatever. Because the B40 is an interesting phone, right? It's a double display phone, but it's not a foldable. It's just a candy bar style phone that has the main display, but then on the back where the cameras are, there's a small display up there, which I think is pretty cool, and I think it's going to come in handy for vlogging, for, you know, better selfies. Instead of using a smaller selfie sensor in the front of the phone, you can use the main wide angle, and if it has an ultra wide, the ultra wide angle for a selfie groupie. Even vlogging video, and then you'll have like a viewfinder to see how your video is doing with that little display. Downside to it is it's a display on the back, and people tend to drop their phone, and so you have a thing that you can crack the display. But I still think it's a pretty cool looking phone, and really, really, really am excited that if they say yes and they send me a demo unit, that, you know, I'll get to play around with it. Of course, review it for you guys and show you guys what it can do. Because sometimes having the best experience with a smartphone doesn't require you to pay over $800 for it. So that's the reality of it. You can find substance in a $400, $500 phone. Like, I still get some crap given to me because I stated in a short video that the Pixel 9a is better than the Pixel 10 in 3 areas. And if you go to my shorts channel, the Short Side of Tech, well, it's just called Short Side of Tech, an Aloha Android project. I'm eventually going to just call it Short Side of Tech, but I dropped a short video, and I said the 3 reasons why the Pixel 9a is better than the Pixel 10. One of them had to do with the build quality, plastic, so you're not worried about breaking the back glass of a phone. Because that's like, I really like the Pixel 10. I like it, and thank you to B-Tech for this case. I love this case because I feel like it's got the phone nicely protected. But yeah, I have to put a case like this on this phone. If I want people to see that it's a Pixel 10, I put my clear case on it. But I feel like my clear case doesn't protect my Pixel 10 as much as this case, the 2D Emerge, protects it. And I got another case coming in for my Pixel 9a. It's a case similar to the 2D, but it's not 2D. It's one of those Chinese generic ones, but it's a very hefty case. I bought a new case for my wife because hers is pretty beaten to hell. My wife can use the hell out of a smartphone. So her current case for her 9a is like, it shows signs of wear, a lot of wear. So I got her a new case, and my wife, she loves, she's an animal lover. She has an army of cats and a legion of dogs. Okay. And so, I got her this really nice case. It's kind of a hefty bulk case to protect her phone. Even though hers is a 9a, my wife tends to drop her phone. I'll share a story. I don't know if she's still here watching, but I'll share you guys. Oh my God. By the way, y'all give thumbs up for my wife. She's at work and she's still sick. Like, I'm slowly getting over the sickness, but it hits her 10 times worse when she gets sick. But I'm gonna share you guys a story. Since my wife is here before she has to leave, I'll share a story with you guys. So when she first got the Pixel 9a, I think it was like maybe a month and a half after getting the Pixel 9a, we were out doing Amazon Flex, and she accidentally dropped her phone. She does this. There's a repeated pattern here, and the display cracked. And it's like, the way my wife is like, when I gift her something, if it breaks, she gets really pissed off. She's very hard on herself. Like, I'm always the one telling her, like, hey, it's a phone. Better the phone getting broken than, something bad happening to you. But she doesn't see it that way. She's just like, it's a gift that I gave her, so, she wants it taken care of and everything. So she was mad when she cracked the screen. And the reason why I say it's a repeated pattern was because way, way, way back in the day when I first met my wife, we were first dating, right? She switched from Cricket to Boost Mobile. That's not the point. I'm remembering everything so vividly. She switched from Cricket to Boost Mobile. She got the Motorola Clutch, right? The little BlackBerry lookalike. And so I like to upgrade phones. So the Moto i65, right? The little slider that is like a dedicated music phone. Even though I had like a 2.5 millimeter headphone jack instead of a 3.5, the phone was centered around music playing. And so my wife had that. She had the white one, like the exclusive Boost Mobile color one, was like white and like a little bit of lavender pattern on the back of it. And I had the like kind of dark brown and like reddish orange colored one. And I remember like we had that for a while, and then one day we were sitting in the living room. She was sitting on the couch. She had a drink by her, and we were talking about upgrading phones. We were talking about possibly switching carriers and everything like that. And just out of nowhere, the Moto i65 decides to slide off the handle of the couch and into her drink and splash, and it got ruined. The phone got water damage, and it was like, so she was mad, but wasn't too mad. But then she started cracking up when I was like telling her, like, you should have kept your voice down. The phone heard you wanted to like upgrade, so it just decided to end itself and went into the drink. So she had to upgrade now. But yeah, it's a my wife, she fast-paced life. She's got her job. She's a manager of her entire team, which today a manager is not like an upper tier, like job type of thing. It's more like babysitter. Actually, I joked with my wife yesterday. I told her like yesterday, I was like, we were talking about her job, and I was like, instead of saying if she's, that she's gonna be going back to work, I said, yeah, you'll be going home. She was like, home? And I'm like, well, pretty much it is your home because you got to spend more time there, and your team of people is like your children, so you have to go and take care of them. And I'm like, when you come home to us, this is more of like going to work for you, and we are your employees here because we don't see her very often. That's how hard she works. Like I work from home. She goes to a 9 to 5 job. And, for somebody that, you guys heard me tell the story in the past because I admire my wife so much. That she went through life and got to where she's at. She'll probably kick my ass for telling you guys this. She doesn't have a high school diploma. At a young age, she dropped out of school and she's just worked, entry level jobs. So at this current job that she's at, moving up to a manager's position without even having high school background, to me, that's pretty impressive. Because most places require you to have a high school diploma in order to work for them. And she was able to get in on this job. And she started off as a cashier and worked her way up. And she still holds the record as a cashier. You ever seen that movie, Employee of the Month? How Vince Downey was like the fastest checker in the Southwest? That's my wife. I mean, she's not a dork like him, but she's efficient at, on the register. Her scores are like insanely good. She's fast. It is why she moved up quickly. She worked for ASU at one of their stores as a manager. She got a part-time job at where she's at now. And then her boss came up to her after it was like less than a month of working with them and was like telling her like they wanted her full time. They convinced her to leave her job at Arizona State University to go work for them. So she went full time there. And then I think it was like a month and a half after that, they promoted her to a service supervisor. And she was that for a couple of years. And then she moved up and became a manager. And so she has her department. Yeah, everything like these days, I mean, like they always say that, like you have to have like certain things. But I do know for like upper management, yes, some of them like, store directors, I think they do require at least an associate's in business or a bachelor in business. I'm like, by the way, are we going live today on the Deathlock? If you guys don't know, I also have fun on the Deathlock podcast. It's Mike's wrestling podcast, and I get to be a guest every time that we do it because love talking wrestling. So if you're into pro wrestling, WWE, AEW, TNA, NXT, New Japan Pro, AAA, if you're into any of those, go to the Deathlock podcast and subscribe and catch our podcast. We try to go live as much as we can, but we just have so much of a busy life. So I'll tell you right now, when we do a podcast, it's special because getting us together, it's pretty hard to do. And then of course, we do love to have other people on the live, on the panel, to have more conversation, more dialogue. Some people, I guess, are afraid to join us. I mean, they join us in chat, they talk wrestling in chat, but we'd love to have you guys on the show too as well. And that's eventually going to happen sometime soon. But I think we're going live today. I don't know because you haven't messaged me, you haven't DM'd me on chat. But if you're planning to go live the same time that I told you last time that I'm free, which is 12 p.m. my time, I'm free to go live. Then yeah, you want to set up, I think it's 2 p.m. your time, and you can set it up for 2 p.m. We can do it. If you want to do it today, if you want to do it tomorrow, we can do it tomorrow. But yeah, I don't want to give too much. I know I'm supposed to talk about Pixel 10 battery life, but I've already talked about that in the video releasing later today in about 5.5 hours from now. It was like 9:30, 9:20. Yeah, about 5.5 hours from now, a video is dropping about the Pixel Watch Gen 1 and then the Pixel 10 battery life. I'll just leave that discussion for that. But yeah, I think my wife had to go back in. She sneaks on to hit the like button for me and stuff like that. I love her so much. She supports everything that I do and whatnot. Biggest supporter, and the fact is like way in the early days of my YouTube journey, right? This is like back in like, 2012, 2013 and 14 and such. I was out of work and my wife was working, and all those Boost mobile phones, like majority of those Boost mobile phones that you see me unboxing, she bought them. Like she would buy the phone, come home, and it's like, here, this is for you to unbox. And I'm like, what the hell, you know? And I would just like go upstairs, and she's like, I got the kids. I'll keep them quiet. Go ahead, And I'm like using, this is like back then when I didn't have a computer. I didn't have, I didn't have a lot. If you guys didn't know, my earlier days of YouTube, it was literally using a smartphone back then and recording video. And that's how I did it. And then I would use like Power Director to edit the video and upload it. I didn't have a dual monitor PC or none of that stuff. I didn't have a boom angle with a microphone. Didn't have none of this stuff. Everything was done through my phone. And so that's how I made videos. That's why those videos look and sound the way that they do. But my wife was like always very big about it. She was always like, and anything that I did, she would always be behind me on it. Of course, I took it to the extreme, and even at some point, YouTube became my life. I guess this is the reason why things today on YouTube for me is more relaxed. Is because like back then I was heavy grinding. I hit 1,000 subscribers. That was like I drank the Kool-Aid. I was like, oh my god, 1,000 subscribers, must keep going. And I was so wrapping myself up in always creating content, and it took my time away from my family. So it was a hard time for them, hard time for all of us. I'm not going to go too personal with that, but let's just say like I almost lost my family. That's how deep into it. So I took a step back away from YouTube. And yeah, the momentum that I had growing plateaued for a while, and it's slowly starting to come up again. But now it's like family before, content creating. And I balance it. And I like to think nowadays I balance it pretty well. You gotta be careful when you get wrapped up in that stuff. Plus too, like my ambitions and my goals changed. Like when I was in my late 20s, it was about blowing up on YouTube and trying to be like a well-known content creator and wanting the adoration and the admiration of a lot of people. Now I don't care about that. I'm not trying to be a diamond play button holder, or a silver button play button holder. I'm not goaling for that. I'm back to the essence of why I started YouTube. I started YouTube because of Phone Dog. I started YouTube because of Christopher Chavez. I started YouTube because of Chris Perillo. Like these guys, I found so interesting in what they did. I loved it, and I was like, I want to do that. Because if I talk to my wife about mobile phones, I'm gonna kill her eardrum. Like, I needed somewhere where I can talk about mobile tech, and YouTube was the place for me to do it. I could talk about it. Other people could watch my video if they wanted to and listen to what I had to say. Yeah, you get the trolls and you get, all that. But hey, for the most part, I've always been happy to do this. And this is why, like I said, like, if everything changes for me and I lose everything, I will still keep doing this. I'm talking about YouTube. Like if the partnership goes away and all that stuff goes away, I will still keep doing this. Because this is like my outlet to like let all this stuff out. Because I'm ADHD. If I don't get this out, I'm going to talk someone's ear off over here, and they're going to run from me. Aaron Baker is so cool. Aaron Baker is a very good success story. And some of you guys may know what I'm about to talk about when it comes to Aaron Baker, but not a lot of people do. Because if you look at the earlier days of Phone Dogs, Aaron Baker was a heavyset guy. And through his time, without even telling us, through his time on Phone Dog, doing phone reviews and stuff like that, along with Noah Kravitz, and I forgot what the girl's name is, he lost a lot of weight. And it was insanely crazy. But yeah, I remember Aaron Baker. Noah Kravitz was also like one of my favorite people from Phone Dog. And you guys remember the One Paw Bandit game? It's like, Best Buy sent us this phone to review, plus another for us to use or give away on the One Paw Bandit game. Spin today. Like, oh man, I remember a lot of that. Um, a lot of that phone dog. And it was like that was like great. Christopher Chavez was like the deep dive Android guy that, you know, wasn't part of a major publication. I enjoyed watching his videos. I still watch his videos just for fun. If he doesn't know that, because he did a lot of ROM reviews, which is how my channel started out too. You guys kind of see like you know where a lot of the inspiration came from. In my earlier videos of YouTube, if you go on my YouTube video list and you switch it from newest to oldest video, and you're gonna see a ton of custom ROM reviews for like, you know, the Galaxy, not Galaxy, but the Samsung Intercept, the Galaxy S2 Epic 4G Touch, the HTC Evo V4G. You're gonna see a lot of those custom ROM videos because I was doing a lot of them. I was flashing. My wife used to get irritated because I'd get up in the morning, I would already have a custom ROM on my Galaxy S2, and then my wife would get irritated because before we go anywhere out with it, you know, to go somewhere, I was already flashing a new ROM on my Galaxy S2 to test. And so I'd have to flash that ROM on there. I'd have to reset up everything, re-download apps because we didn't have those, you know, restore from backup type things back in the day like that. And then so it would take like an hour and a half to get the phone set up, and then we would leave to go do what we were gonna do. And so I remember my wife used to get irritated with that, but like I was on what was it? I'd flashed Dark Unicorn AOKP. I flashed Pac-Man ROM. I flashed Paranoid Android. You know, Cyanogen Mod. Man, there were just so many different ones. And like the Galaxy Epic 4G Touch, which is the Galaxy S2, that phone, it even had some TouchWiz ports from like the Galaxy S4. So that little side taskbar, that's yesterday's. That's old news. I had that on the Galaxy S2. So I mean, there was a lot of things. This is how, if you guys didn't know, the friendship between me and B-Tech, this is how that happened. Because when I switched from doing custom ROM reviews, it switched over to phone unboxings, but like prepaid phones, I was doing Virgin Mobile. Because I had Virgin Mobile USA as a service provider, right? $25 a month, 300 minutes of talk, unlimited text, and unlimited 3G data or 4G LTE data. At the time, LTE was coming in, so we were still using 3G. So I was like, you know, I was buying Virgin Mobile phones. And it was so funny because after uploading my video, a day later, when I would watch my own video to see how it's doing, and then recommended videos, and his video would be in my recommended video. But another person who was reviewing Virgin Mobile USA phones, his channel, Funzier1, was also recommended. So it was like B-Tech Reviews, Aloha Android, Funzier1 were reviewing Virgin Mobile USA phones. And then from there, you know, I started getting a Boost Mobile because I was like, my wife wanted more talk minutes and stuff like that. So we switched from Virgin Mobile USA to Boost Mobile. And I remember her first phone on Boost Mobile was the LG Vault. Small phone, small display, huge battery, and damn good battery life. And removable. So she got the LG Vault. I had the Kyocera Hydro from Virgin Mobile. No, I got the Kyocera Hydro for Boost. Sorry. Because there was a similar version on Virgin Mobile, and then there was like the rugged military-looking one for Boost Mobile. Same phone though, technically. But you know, I switched over to Boost Mobile. Then I did reviews on that. I flashed a custom ROM on that phone, and did all kinds of things. And then it was just like doing Boost Mobile reviews from there. And he was doing Boost Mobile reviews. He was doing Virgin Mobile reviews. Basically, he was doing anything that was like budget prepaid. He would get the phones, unbox it, activate it, use it, and our friendship developed from there because I would start watching his videos, commenting, liking his videos, and he would do the same. He would comment on mine, like my videos. And then we started linking up on outside social medias and just chatting, DMing. We started doing Hangouts on Air. We were doing live streams on YouTube, which back then, that was when Google Plus was around. So they had Hangouts on Air, and you would, you know, just go live. And we even worked on a collaboration channel where it was me, B-Tech, Paul Tech, Tech Right, Magic Tech Review. Oh, watch this. Hello?
Hi, I was trying to reach Tara.
I apologize. I keep getting calls for Tara. I recently just activated this number, so this is not Tara's number anymore.
Oh, thank you very much. I apologize.
You're very welcome. You have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye. But anyways, yeah, so it was like Paul tagged me, Magic Tech Review, and we had several other people join on, and we would just go on and just live stream and just talk tech. Well, whatever was going on. It was kind of hard to get everybody together. But yeah. Oh, you're still here? My wife is still here watching. Yeah, those are crazy times. But you know, yeah, this is how some of those friendships spawned. You know, I always said that I felt bad about it because I remember, if you guys remember JG Tech Blog, guy who reviews a lot of Metro by T-Mobile because he worked for Metro by T-Mobile. At the time, it was still called Metro PCS. I remember him always telling me, because like right around when I was backing away from YouTube because I was so wrapped up in it that I needed to get back to my real life. I needed, you know, space. I was also getting burnt out from YouTube. I remember JG Tech Blog was always like messaging me, always telling me, about this really cool guy that, you know, he wanted me to meet, he wanted to work with, he wanted to collaborate with. And I wish that message from JG Tech Blog came like months before he sent it to me, because that's when I was very active on YouTube. And then I started noticing on JG's YouTube channel, there was this guy who was like taking over his channel every now and then to talk, you know, telecom, to talk all this stuff. And yes, if you guessed it, that's Sneed Mobile Tech. Back in the day, most people that he tried to collaborate with didn't want to work with this guy. And so JG worked with him and let him take over his channel, and they talked tech, and, you know, Sneed talked about, you know, LTE and network connectivity, the stuff he talks about today. But back then, people weren't paying attention too much to telecom. It was always about the phone. Android versus iPhone. Android versus BlackBerry. Android versus iPhone. So now when you look at Sneed today, I mean, he's pretty well known in the tech community space, but obviously because he knows his stuff about telecom, which now people actually care about. They do care about the connection, because now they're understanding that not everybody with the LTE signal has the same connection. You could be on the same carrier, sort of. One could be T-Mobile postpaid, one could be Metro. But you're not getting the same quality. One is prioritized over you. People are learning that, and wow, I'm starting to lose my voice. Yes, my wife was watching me. Hopefully none of her coworkers are watching. That'd be so weird. Because I walk in with her to her work sometimes. But anyways, yeah, so now Sneed is at where he's at. You know, Carlos S. Tech used to comment on a lot of my videos back in the day. And then now, you know, he's a content creator himself. So a lot of the people that, you know, I've interacted with are people that I've interacted with for a while. Except for Sneed. I didn't interact with Sneed, but I was on a hiatus from YouTube because of YouTube burnout and just personal issues in life I was dealing with. So it came at the worst time. However, I am happy to see where all these gentlemen are today in their areas of YouTube. And I do offer help, you know, to up and coming channels that need help. Like, I'm no guru. I don't know all the ins and outs of growing a channel, but I can only tell you guys of what not to do based on things that I've done that has been detrimental to my channel. And I tend to try to help people with that. My number one thing when it comes to being a content creator is quit worrying about the numbers. Don't worry about the numbers. When you're primarily focused on it, getting one subscriber would seem slow to you. And so it'd be discouraging. And that negativity would impact you like that. Versus someone who doesn't care about the numbers, when you see that one new subscriber, that's a gain. And you're excited for it. You know, it's all about perspectives on YouTube. So what I would say is just grind out videos and make your videos as good as possible. Work on a thumbnail. Make sure your thumbnail is something that you yourself want to click. Like, my rule of thumb is, if your own video doesn't entice you to click to watch it, and when you are watching it, if you're not interested in watching it all the way through, other people are not going to be interested in watching it all the way through. So no, it's not embarrassing to say. I do watch my own videos, and sometimes I get wrapped up in the conversation, which just sounds hella stupid because I'm the one talking about it, and I'm the one that uploaded it, and then I caught my own self getting, you know, immersed in the subject. And then I'm like, so I know my wife looks at me like I'm crazy sometimes. She'll hear my own video playing and she'll just kind of glance over and look like, what is this guy doing? What's this idiot doing? And I'm over there watching it like this guy's cool. This guy's awesome and looks a lot like me. Fuck, it is me. That's the thing. Um, so yeah, that's the type of stuff that I offer. But every now and then, I'll give help to people. Um, yeah, it's been been pretty interesting. Ascentech. Oh my God, we have been graced with the presence of one of the old timers himself. And if you guys aren't connected with him, you guys should be connected with him. I like the way he does his videos and his shorts too, as well. Ascentech in the house. What up? How's life out there in your neck of the woods? Are you still out in Kenosha, or did you relocate? I'm glad to see you here. I haven't seen you in a while, man. So this is another one. Connected with Tech Right. I was watching his stuff just as he was, blowing up and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, I mean, I don't know how life is for YouTube for him, but I would say this. It does seem like that he's kind of, detached himself from being heavily immersed in creating content. I think that's the maturity that all creators go through. Like in the very beginning phases of being a content creator, it's about dropping something, hoping that it goes viral, hoping that it catches on. As you spend years being a content creator, you start to find balance in your life where you separate your personal life from your content creating life. And then you also make it where it's important to keep yourself in the real world and outside of the matrix. And so, yeah, we eventually get there. Yeah. He stopped for a little bit. I seen that he's back on it. I see that, I saw his Pixel 10 Pro video. Yeah, I seen that video that he just dropped. Yeah, he's here and then he's out for a little while, then he's back in. Hopefully he's doing okay. I think the last interaction I had with Tech Right was when him and JG Tech Blog had a little bit of an issue. I don't know what or how, why it came that way. One reached out to me and wanted to squash beef and pretty much put me in the middle as a mediator to squash the beef between them. And I was like, who the hell am I? I'm nobody on this platform, but I guess I'll mediate it to make sure that you guys don't overstep bounds and make things worse. After that, I rarely talked to Tech Right. Like he rarely interacted with me. And so I didn't push the issue, didn't reach out to him, just let it be, If he wanted to chat with me, he'll reach out to me. How's life in Arizona? Freakishly odd. It's not hot. Today, temperature-wise, we're sitting at 70 degrees. Usually around this time of the year, because Phoenix gets pretty hot, it would be like 90 degrees, 89 to 90 degrees around this time at 9:38 a.m. in the morning. We basically here, we only have two seasons. We have hot and cold. And so the hot season would be from March all the way till the end of November. The cold season would be from the end of November until the end of February. So it's really strange that we're cool. We've cooled off a lot earlier. We dropped out of triple digits, I think, the end of September. And we've been in still warm, like 80s and 90s, but below triple digits, though. We're not in the hundreds. So that's kind of strange. I'm enjoying it. I haven't gotten stung by a scorpion. Someone asked me that in a DM. They were like, "Hey, you ever been stung by a scorpion?" I'm like, "No, they're not like all over the place." But I also go hiking. I think that's probably why they asked. So I feel more like the jackass for just acting that way. Because I never really asked like if they were asking because of like the hiking on the mountains that I do. I hike the mountains around Phoenix. So if you live in Phoenix and you know of my channel. If you ever want to catch me, you're going to have to catch me at one of the hiking trails because I like to go hiking with my wife. So that's where you'll find me. All right, man. Take it easy, Anthony. Glad to have you here. I appreciate you for stopping by. I just got home from my therapy. I would go with Google Fi if there was a family plan that was more affordable. I mean, so they got a promotion running. It's only a promotion. So if you wanted to take advantage of them for like a year and 3 months, you actually can. I'll go back to their plans. because they're running a promotion on their unlimited essentials and unlimited standard. So the mid plan and the low plan. Yeah, so it's half off. It's half off your plan with the limited standard or limited essentials if you basically if you sign up with any one of those two plans and you bring your own phone. So signing up for service, bringing your own device. So 2 lines on unlimited standards, $40 instead of $80. $30 instead of $60 on the essentials plan. If you go 3 lines, it's $45 for the standard and $40 for the essentials. You go 4 lines, $50 for the standard and $45 for the essentials. 5 lines of service, $62.50 for the standard and $56.50 for the essentials. I love how that's just like reversed. And then 6 lines of service, $75 for unlimited standard and $67.50 for the essentials. Yeah, so they're doing like that special. I'm here again. Are you on break, love, or you just pop it in and out? You're gonna be driving to Vegas for CES from Milwaukee. I know it's Milwaukee, people. Like I watched Wayne's World. You remember the scene in the first Wayne's World movie where they meet up with Alice Cooper and the band in the back because they got backstage passes, and then Alice Cooper tells them to like hang out with them, and like they just go into this whole historical thing where the band members are like, they're talking about Milwaukee, right? And so Alice Cooper's like, the actual name is pronounced Milwaukee, which is Algonquian for the good land. It was like so weird. Matter of fact, Alice Cooper is from Scottsdale. He's from out here. He had a restaurant here I never got to try. I saw it on Man vs. Food. And my wife, we were always wanting to go there to eat. They closed it down. It used to be downtown by the Chase Field. They closed the restaurant down. Sad as it is, but yeah. But anyways, yeah, they do got family plans at a discount, 50% off when you sign up today. So something's dying over here. Did I leave a phone on? I think it's my son's tablet that's on. Anyhow, yeah, I'm just kind of like, ranting on and everything like that. Holy Jeeves, I've been on for like an hour and 38 minutes. I'll go for a little bit more, or if my wife tells me here when she's going on break, that way I can talk to her. I always talk to my wife on her break. It's like, I am 43 years old. She and I have been together for like 17 years, and we still act like high school kids. If she goes to break and eat, I try to get me a snack so we're eating together on a video call together. But that's just our thing, like, when I love, I love fiercely and I love passionately, and it just goes. That's how I am. Like, if I'm going to be in a relationship with somebody, I'm going to put everything I have into that relationship. And I expect, in full return, like for her to put everything into it, which she does. We're not a fairy tale relationship. It's not always a perfect day where you wake up and the birds are chirping and the birds fly through your window with your towel to hand you your towel so you can take your morning shower. It's nothing like that. There are good days, there are bad days, I think more than anything, because like I said, I'm not a wealthy person. I'm not well off. I don't drive a Beamer, don't have a big house or none of that stuff. I live day to day. She and I live paycheck to paycheck, that type of thing. And sometimes we find ourselves in very hard, very deep predicaments. And it's so crazy how we always end up finding a way out of it. It's like we work good together as a team. So it's not only that we love each other so much. It's not only about the physical things either, but it's also just like this resilience to never wanting to fail. And I admire her and all the things that she does. And she doesn't probably hear it enough, but I appreciate everything that she does, including, the fact that she takes care of me because of, the different medical conditions that I deal with on a daily basis and fight every day. And a normal person, in my opinion, would have given up on me. A normal person in my mind would have probably been like, either they would have just left me, or if they didn't want to look like an asshole, then they would secretly see somebody on the side because they were just fed up with having to deal with me. And she hasn't abandoned me. She kicks my ass when I don't follow the regiments I need to, and she's always on top of just how I feel and what I'm doing. Um, and she deals with a lot with at work. I don't know. Today is just a day. I just feel like giving my wife a lot of love on YouTube. So I normally don't talk too much about her because I know she likes her life private. But this ain't deep diving too much into her life. This is just the relationship that she and I have. This is why I'm able to do stuff like this, you know. She makes that possible. So if you guys can hit a like in honor of my wife, I would appreciate it. If you guys have the option to hype the the live stream later, I don't know, do they hype live streams? I think they do. If they do, if you could do it, that'd be great. If not, hype one of my videos up in honor for her. One day I want to meet up with everybody. I do. Like, I remember we came so close to everyone meeting at CES. Speaking of it, right? Latrell was, he always goes to CES just about every year. He always goes to Vegas out there. Goes to the event. So I remember one time they were talking about, like, Carlos was planning for it. Like, he wanted Latrell to come out there. I think, what's his name? TK was going out there. Sneed, they were trying to get Sneed to come out to CES, and Ricky was, at the time he was living in Florida, but he was going to drive out there. Now he lives in Vegas. Like, everybody in the tech community of recent was supposed to meet up at CES, and I was planning to drive up to go to Vegas to not go to CES, but just to meet with everybody, because everyone would go to CES, they would go walk the events. When they were out for the night, to go out to dinner and hang out, that's where I would come out and meet up with them, and we would all hang out. It never happened, but hopefully one day it does. Hopefully one day everyone can get out there and everybody can do it, can meet up. I almost was going to go to San Antonio. That would have been the perfect way for me to meet face to face with B-Tech. Me and B-Tech have a long lasting, friendship for so many years, but we've never met face to face and hung out. Although it wouldn't be awkward because he and I chat like, he's known me since I was a kid. That's the type of dynamic friendship that we have. I want to meet Latrell. He's going to hate me for this. I want to meet Latrell so I can hand him the keys to a Toyota, a 1987 Toyota Corolla. It's an inside joke for those who don't know. But no, I would really genuinely like to meet Latrell just to hang out, just to chill. Not about tech, fuck tech. We wouldn't even really worry too much about that. And we'd just to hang out. That'll happen. It'll happen. It will happen one day. Or maybe I haven't told my wife this, but she ain't gonna be too against it. I always told her if we played the lottery here and say we hit the 365 million, like, I would be in no hurry. Because you know how it goes, right? If you won 365 million from a lottery, you won't take all that money. The government and the state, combined together will take like half to like 60% in taxes. I don't care. Take it and just give me my winnings immediately. Because of course, I would set up things for my kids to make sure that their life has a better head start for their success in the future. I would take care of extended family, wipe out their debts, so they can get, the ball rolling to make better progressions in their life. One thing I know I would do with my lottery winnings is I would buy everybody that is in the tech community space. I'd buy them a ticket to come out here. Just to come out here. Hang out a weekend, right? Get everyone to fly out on a Friday, arrive here on a Friday, check in at their hotel, spend Saturday and Sunday here, and they can go back home on Monday. 48 hours of just reckless fun and whatever, right? I would do that. I think this is why life and the way that the energy in the world flows. It doesn't throw me a big bone like that because I wouldn't do selfish things with it. And would I buy me like the latest phones out there? Of course not. Why not? I would splurge on myself. I would spoil the shit out of my wife. I would spoil the hell out of my kids. But I would also do things to help my family, to get them out of whatever troubles they're in. I'd really love to just at least help 10 homeless people get their life back. I mean, not just, Not like what you see on YouTube where someone comes up and hands them a plate of food and some change and talks to them and says they wish that things would get better for them. Like, no. First off, I wouldn't even make content out of it because it's someone's real life. But I want to help somebody because I know what it's like to be homeless. I was homeless 18, 19, and 20 years old. I know what it's like to be homeless. So I would love to help 10 people get out of being homeless. Like, not only clean them up, not only buy them fresh new clothes, not only rent them a place for an entire year paid up front, not only help them get a vehicle back if they have a driver's license, if not, help them get a mode of transportation like an electric bike, like an e-bike or something like that, so they can get around. Help them get a job. Put some money in a bank for emergencies for them. Stock their refrigerator and their kitchen with groceries, fully furnish their place. I would want to get them out of that and get them the jump start that they wish for. I know they wish for. You know, even if the person is a drug addict, I would help them get into the best treatment ever so they can recover as an addict and get off the stuff and get their life back on track. Because money like that doesn't go with you when you die. So there are a lot of people that talk about the good that they would do, and then you see them hit big, and you don't see them fulfill what they said they would do when they didn't have nothing. And I would like to prove the world wrong on that not everybody who hits big would completely change exactly what they said they would do. They would honor what they said they would do. And so, yeah, on this live stream, I'm saying it. I would help homeless get out of being homeless. I would help my family get out of debt that they're in so they can grab a hold of their life and progress further. I would set my kids up for a head start for a successful life for them. I would spoil the hell out of my wife because she deserves the world times 100 times over. I would have like all my friends meet up at a resort here and spend the weekend out here just hanging out as friends and just chilling and just having a good time. And I would buy me a 1999 Nissan Skyline R34 GTR with the RB26 DETT and a T9 and T10 turbos installed. I'd buy me that car. That's my dream car. I told my daughter that. There was a guy here in Phoenix that's selling one for $215,000, and she was in shock. A couple of other guys have R32s, and they're selling them. One's selling them for like $26,000 for an R32. It's a white one. And then there's another guy. The other guy has an R33, and he wants, I think he wants 38 or 39,000 for it. It was on Facebook Marketplace. The R35, the body style looks nice. The reason why I don't like the R35 is because it's a V6. I prefer the power performance of an inline versus a V. So like V6s are pretty good, but the RB26 is an inline. So it's a 6-cylinder inline engine. Just like if I went with the RX-7, I would go with the RX-7 or the FD or the FC. Only because if I had to get a modern one, it would be the RX-8 because the RX-7, the FC, FD, and the RX-8 are using a rotary engine, which is not common. Rotary engines are not common. He also has a Torino. Yeah. I remember when I was watching your live stream, you passed by that house that had the R32. It's the black one, right? I mean, yeah, I would love to move away. It's just the hard thing is uprooting the family to a place where the opportunities there are not the same as here. But we will move because my dream with my wife is that once my kids are out to college, and I mean they're out to college and they're doing their own thing, I told my wife like I wanted to buy like one of those traveling campers, but kind of makeshifted into like a food truck because I want to travel across the country, live in the camper, make food and sell it as our way of funding our way to travel all around the US and go to different places, stop off in different towns and spend a week there and just look at things, right? Like I don't want to live in a house once my kids are grown and out the door and doing their own thing. I want to travel with my wife. I know she doesn't want to leave the country because she doesn't trust other countries. My wife's a big fan of Lifetime movies. So she's seen movies where people have gone to other countries and got abducted or something bad happened. She'd rather stay here, but she wants, she likes to travel around. And so I want to travel around because there's still places in the US that I haven't seen. And so I want to go to those places. So that's my dream. That is like my dream living as a retirement is to travel. Like I would have like a home address, probably keep, Arizona as my home address. But I would love to just spend like 10 years of traveling with my wife. But then she gets mad at me because like I'm always the morbid darker one. So I'm like, yeah, we can camp out at a lake, like up north somewhere. And I was like, and it'd be cool because, like I would go outside to, maybe put stuff away and get attacked by a werewolf. And then my wife wants to slap me in the back of the head for talking that way. Because she knows like on a non-realistic front, if I could have anything done to me that's mythical or anything like that, I would want to be bitten by a werewolf. I would want to be a werewolf. I don't know why. I'm fascinated by werewolves. Like here in, the Superstition Mountains is what it's called. There have been sightings and stuff of what they call skinwalkers. And most of the time it's in the form of a humanoid wolf-like creature. Like a wolf, werewolf. I wanted to take my sister out there when she comes here next week. My wife says I can't. I can't scare the shit out of my sister. Because I want to go out there because it's dark as hell. Superstition Mountains is freaky at night. My wife and I did an Amazon Flex out there. And when we were delivering out there, I think it was in July or August. But it had October Halloween vibes. The air was uneasy. It was just, strange. Very strange. Anyways, I keep it at that. I'm going to go ahead and dip out of here because I've been on here for almost 2 hours. B-Tech, hit me with a DM. Let me know if we're doing Deathlock Podcast today. If we're going to do that. And if you want to do it, we can do it. And then hopefully my wife is going on a break here soon so she and I can have a quick chat. And I'm going to go check out my little ones right now. I think I'm gonna give me something to eat because I'm hungry. Are you guys hungry? I'm hungry. I just don't know what the flip I want to eat. There's leftover Wingstop. Yeah, there is. Yeah, chicken wings. No, but then never mind. I'm gonna go. I'm hungry. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys very much. You guys are so cool to talk to, and I love how you guys just let me just freaking just go off complete script and just start blabbing off about life and stuff like that. But I appreciate it though. If you guys like more of it, hit the like button. That tells me you guys like more of it and I'll do more of it. Until then, I will see you guys in the next one. If we're doing the Deathlock Podcast today, head over to the channel, subscribe, turn on notifications so you know exactly when we're going live, and I will see you guys there. Aloha.